Chapter 16:16. Boom. One of the puppets punched out, and the air whistled with terrifying power. Lu Ming activated the suppressing hell skill and punched out as well, meeting the puppet's punch. With a loud bang, Lu Ming's body shook slightly, and he felt his arm go numb. What a strong power! Lu Ming felt that the puppet's power was comparable to Su Ran's. Su Ran was a stage 2 half-saint, but he had a superior earth spiritual body. He could fight above his level, and was comparable to a stage 3 half-saint. Kill, kill, kill. Subsequently, more puppets pounced on Lu Ming. There were more than 10 of them. With so many puppets attacking at the same time, their power was shocking. It was no wonder that Wan Tianqing and the rest were repelled. These puppets were even more difficult to deal with than martial artists of the same level because they were fearless. They had copper skin and iron bones, and their combat power was shocking. With so many puppets, Lu Ming didn't dare to take them head-on. With the help of bubbles, his body kept flickering, avoiding these puppets. Behind him, at the entrance of the cave, Wan Tianqing rushed in, but he was also besieged by many puppets. The power of one of these puppets was limited, but when more than a dozen of them worked together, their power was amazing. Even a genius like Wan Tianqing was at a disadvantage. In the end, he retreated unwillingly. With the help of bubbles, Lu Ming was in danger. On the other side, Huang Ling bathed in divine fire and kept charging in, wanting to break through the puppet's encirclement and get the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. The immortal heavenly phoenix body is indeed extraordinary. It has the characteristic of being immortal. Its vitality is too strong. Lu Ming exclaimed in his heart. Huang Ling's battle prowess might be on par with Wan Tianqing and the others, but her vitality was far superior to Wan Tianqing and the others. Huang Ling bathed in divine fire and had been hit by the puppets many times, but she still stubbornly charged forward. No, these puppets seemed to be arranged according to a formation. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes flickered. The cave was huge, and there were at least a few hundred puppets scattered all over the place. However, Lu Ming discovered that there were at most a dozen puppets besieging them at the same time. The other puppets remained motionless. For example, when Lu Ming charged through some places, some puppets would stop attacking, but new puppets would join in and besiege him. Their numbers were always around a dozen. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. These puppets seemed to be arranged according to some kind of pattern. With a thought, the second body stepped forward. A Taiji disc floated above his head. Many small Taiji diagrams appeared and scattered on the ground. Wong. The ground glowed and veined patterns appeared, forming a huge formation diagram. It really is a formation, Lu Ming muttered. He discovered that the puppets were all standing at key points of the spell formation, and there was something profound about each of their positions. Those puppets attacked according to the operation of the spirit formation. Thus, no matter where they went, there would be over a dozen puppets attacking at the same time. Furthermore, due to the support of the spirit formation, the power of the dozen or so puppets was extremely astonishing. If it were a dozen or so warriors in the third stage of the half-saint realm, they would never be able to stop a genius like Wan Tianqing. They might even be killed by him. However, a dozen or so puppets in the third stage of the half-saint realm could suppress Wan Tianqing, Zhao Kuang, and the others and even injure them. This was because of the help of the formation, which made the dozen or so puppets extremely powerful. On the other side, Huang Ling looked at Lu Ming after seeing the formation on the ground. When she saw Lu Ming, shock flashed in her eyes. At this moment, the second body took a step forward and disappeared into the area between Lu Ming's eyebrows. Lu Ming's main body, on the other hand, took a step forward. When he took a step forward, the attacks of the dozen puppets strangely hit nothing but air. Then, Lu Ming stepped out again. Just like before, the attacks of the dozen or so puppets hit nothing, as if they couldn't hit Lu Ming. A smile emerged on Lu Ming's face. He had already identified the weakness of this array. Every step he took landed on the weak spot of this array. It could also be said that he landed on the blind spot of this array. As a result, the attacks of the puppets all missed. Whoosh, whoosh. Lu Ming seemed to be taking a leisurely stroll. He took one step to the east and one step to the west. The attacks of the puppets were all directed at the side of Lu Ming. None of them hit him. Lu Ming was quickly moving toward the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. On the other side, Huang Ling was a little anxious. She ignored her injuries and rushed forward forcefully. The two of them approached the two stone pillars at an extremely fast speed. About a minute later, the two of them broke through the encirclement of the puppets and rushed toward the two stone pillars. There were no puppets standing in the area surrounding the two stone pillars. Furthermore, when they broke through the encirclement of the puppets and arrived at this area, those puppets did not chase after them. They all returned to their original positions and stood motionless. Whoosh! Lu Ming grabbed a jade token and the black key was in Huang Ling's hand. Then, the two of them looked at each other and the atmosphere was a little tense. Brother, the jade token in your hand should be a map. Why don't you give me the map and let the map and the key merge? Otherwise, it's useless for both of us. Huang Ling said in a delicate voice. A powerful aura emanated from her body and locked onto Lu Ming. Indeed, it's useless for both of us. You have the key, but you can't find the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. I have the map. Even if I find the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb, I can't enter it. Why don't you give me the key and let the map and the key merge? Lu Ming said with a smile. He stepped back slowly and put up his guard. Lu Ming, damn you. They have the map and the key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. At this moment, a few angry roars were heard. It turned out that Wan Tianqing, Zhao Kuang, and Sima Yang had rushed in. They naturally saw that the map and the key were in the hands of Lu Ming and Huang Ling. However, they were besieged by a group of puppets. They didn't have Huang Ling's immortal body and couldn't withstand the attacks of the puppets. After a while, they had to retreat from the cave. You are Lu Ming? Huang Ling blinked her eyes and asked. That's right. Lu Ming nodded. He focused all his attention on Huang Ling and was afraid that she would suddenly attack. Lu Ming, if I attack, I'm afraid you won't be able to keep the map of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. Huang Ling said. Is that so? I don't think so. Lu Ming smiled and his glabella shone. His second body stepped out and stood side by side with Lu Ming. A Tai Chi array disc floated above his head, and a powerful aura spread out. Doppelganger? No, it's the same person. Amazing. Really amazing. Huang Ling's eyes moved between Lu Ming's main body and second body. She was amazed. Huang Ling, although you have the immortal heavenly phoenix body, the word immortal is relative. It's not true that you are immortal. It's just that you have a strong life force. I'm afraid that you are seriously injured and your combat strength has been greatly reduced. If you really want to fight, you might not be my match. Chapter 16-17. Lu Ming's words caused Huang Ling's eyes to flicker. It was true that she was injured after forcing her way through. The immortal heavenly phoenix flesh was not immortal. It only granted her a stronger life force. Once her strength reached a certain level, she would still die. Besides, even if you can defeat me and claim the map of the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb, will you be able to leave this place? There are 3 experts waiting for you outside. Lu Ming continued, causing Huang Ling's eyes to flicker even more. A moment later, Huang Ling's eyes flickered as she let out a smile like a blossoming peony. As a matter of fact, Huang Ling was very beautiful. Among the people Lu Ming had met, only Xian Yinqing and a few others were comparable to her. Lu Ming, why don't we team up? Huang Ling said. Team up? How? Lu Ming's gaze flickered as he asked. We'll team up and leave this place together. You have the map, and I have the key. We can search for the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb and open it. We'll split the treasures and successions inside. What do you think? Huang Ling said. That's a great idea. All right, I'll do it. Lu Ming agreed after a slight hesitation. Right now, there was no better way than this. Lu Ming only had the map, but not the key. It was useless even if he had the map. Besides, with his strength, it was almost impossible for him to snatch the key from Huang Ling and escape from the encirclement of Wan Tianqing and the others. Therefore, it was better to team up with Huang Ling outside the cave. Wan Tianqing and the others surrounded it with unpleasant looks. Huang Ling, that Lu Ming is my enemy. If you kill him and give me the map, we'll team up and leave this place. What do you think? Wan Tianqing suddenly spoke. His voice echoed in the cave. Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang were startled. If that was the case, they would not be able to stop Huang Ling and Wan Tianqing if they teamed up. Huang Ling, if you give me the map, I'll team up with you. On top of that, I'll promise you one more thing. As long as it's within my capabilities, I won't hesitate. Zhao Kuang immediately opened his mouth and promised even more generous conditions. Huang Ling, if you join hands with me, you can take more of the treasures inside the reincarnation monarch's tomb. Sima Liang also spoke, wanting to join forces with Huang Ling. The way they saw it, there was no problem for Huang Ling to kill Lu Ming. Inside the cave, Lu Ming's eyes flashed as he said, "What they said is actually a better idea for you. What do you think? Are you tempted? Who do you think I am? How could he go back on his word? Since I've agreed to work with you, I won't go back on my word." Huang Ling glared at Lu Ming with her beautiful eyes and said with some displeasure, "Really?" Lu Ming smiled faintly. Of course. Huang Ling had a serious expression on her face, and then she said, "I need to recuperate now. How about we charge out together once I've fully recovered?" Charge out. Lu Ming pondered for a moment. A moment later, his eyes flickered coldly as he said, "If you're at your peak, can you hold Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang off for a few minutes? If I'm at my peak, I can easily hold them off for 3 minutes with my secret technique. Any longer, and I won't be able to do it. What are you planning to do?" Huang Ling said, "Kill." Lu Ming said coldly, "Kill? Kill Wan Tianqing?" Huang Ling's eyes widened. "That's right, but it'll take some time." Lu Ming nodded. Huang Ling's eyes flickered with astonishment. Lu Ming said he was going to kill Wan Tianqing? She found it unbelievable. Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the peak 8th layer martial dominator realm. How could he possibly kill Wanling Tianqing? "It's quite difficult with my current cultivation, so I need to have a breakthrough. As for you, don't you need to recuperate too?" Lu Ming said. "That's right. Wasn't the puppet formation the best place for him to train himself? Since he was not in a rush to leave, he decided to cultivate here. Once he reached the 9th layer martial dominator realm, he would be able to kill Wan Tianqing. All right, we'll wait here for a while." Huang Ling walked to the side and sat down with her legs crossed. Her figure was engulfed in flames as she began to recuperate from her injuries, as if she trusted Lu Ming a lot. That being said, it was impossible for her not to be on alert. If Lu Ming were to make any strange moves, she would instantly unleash a powerful attack. Lu Ming let out a smile as his clone returned to the mountain and river pattern. Lu Ming stepped forward and entered the puppet formation. All of a sudden, one by one, the puppets charged toward Lu Ming and attacked him, releasing terrifying attacks. Lu Ming did not dodge the attacks by stepping into the weak spots of the formation. Instead, he fought the puppets head-on. However, these puppets were able to injure Wan Tianqing and the others, thus they were extremely powerful. In just a few moves, Lu Ming was injured and vomited blood. He had no choice but to retreat to the safe zone beside the pillar. Meanwhile, Huang Ling, who was recuperating from her injuries, opened her eyes and said in astonishment, "Flesh of the 9 dragons, did you awaken the bloodline of the 9 dragons before?" "That's right, the 9 dragons and the immortal heavenly phoenix are both among the top 10 battle beasts. Don't you think we're a match made in heaven?" Lu Ming could not help but tease Huang Ling when he saw her beautiful face. "Is that so? If your cultivation can catch up to mine, maybe I'll consider it?" Huang Ling's eyes flickered with astonishment as she let out a cunning grin. "How long would it take for my cultivation to catch up to yours? Since there are puppets guarding the entrance, it's an auspicious time. Why don't we do it now?" Lu Ming's gaze darted all over Huang Ling's curvaceous body. With a sinister smile, he walked toward Huang Ling Yu. "What do you want? So you're also a lecher. Don't come over." Huang Ling's expression changed when she saw Lu Ming walking toward her. Phoenix flames spread out from her body as she stared at Lu Ming anxiously. "Ha ha ha." Lu Ming suddenly laughed and walked to the side. He sat down cross-legged and started recuperating. "Damn it." Huang Ling gritted her teeth. She knew that she had been tricked by Lu Ming. Lu Ming's injuries were not serious. Soon, he recovered from his injuries. After he recovered, Lu Ming did not step into the puppet array immediately. Instead, he fell into deep thought. Currently, he had the 10,000 soldier art, the 13 strikes of power storing, the hell suppressing skill, and the chaotic sky flipping seal. Now, he needed to cultivate a realm movement technique to make up for his lack of movement techniques. Lu Ming searched through the 9 dragons' memories. Soon, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He found a movement martial skill, Gale Thunder Steps. To cultivate the Gale Thunder Steps, one needed to comprehend the Gale Thunder territory. This was not a problem for them. The Gale Thunder Steps combined the characteristics of wind and thunder. It moved like lightning and had the agility of the wind. It was a top-notch realm movement technique. Lu Ming studied it carefully. After a few hours, Lu Ming stepped into the puppet array again. More than 10 puppets attacked Lu Ming. Chapter 16-18. Boom, boom. The long spear and the battle sword clashed with the 2 puppets. Lu Ming's body shook violently as he retreated. That's the 10,000 weapon art. This time, Huang Ling was shocked by Lu Ming again. Lu Ming had actually cultivated the 10,000 weapon art. It was a unique technique of the Wan clan. She felt that Lu Ming was becoming more and more unfathomable. Whoosh, whoosh. At the same time, on the other side, a few puppets attacked Lu Ming with lightning speed. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes slightly as he concentrated. Just as the puppets' attacks were about to hit Lu Ming's body suddenly moved. The light of wind and lightning flashed as he narrowly avoided the puppets' attacks. He used the wind thunder steps. Then, he attacked with both his long spear and battle sword, blocking the attacks of the other 2 puppets. Lu Ming didn't use the puppet formation's weakness to avoid the attacks. Instead, he used his pure combat strength to fight with the puppets and train himself. However, in the puppet formation, the combat strength of a dozen puppets was far above him. He could only do his best and push his potential to the limit to fight against the puppet formation. This time, Lu Ming barely blocked 10 moves before he fell into a fatal crisis. Left with no choice, Lu Ming stepped on the puppet formation's weakness to avoid the attacks and retreated to a safe area. After resting, he continued to step into the formation and fought with the puppets. Every time, Lu Ming had to push himself to the limit. When he fell into a fatal crisis, Lu Ming would use the formation's weakness to avoid the attacks. In this way, although Lu Ming couldn't enter the state of emptiness of life and death, his improvement was still fast. When he first started cultivating the wind thunder steps, his improvement was the fastest. He broke through continuously and soon reached the 3rd level. As for the primal chaos domain, his improvement was also fast. It started to break through to the 9th level. Outside the cave, Wan Tianqing, Zhao Kuang, and Sima Liang's faces were gloomy. They stood outside and stared at the cave. When they heard the intense rumbling sound coming from the cave, the 3 of them had different expressions. What happened inside? Could it be that Huang Ling dealt with that brat? Several people guessed. Let's go in and take a look. Wan Tianqing spoke coldly as he rushed into the cave. Then, Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang also rushed into the cave. As soon as they rushed into the cave, they were besieged by the puppets. At the same time, they saw Lu Ming fighting with the puppets. The 3 of them looked puzzled and left the cave. How did that brat fight with the puppet? Could it be that they would also be attacked by the puppets when they come out after obtaining the map and key? Zhao Kuang was puzzled. That should be the case. Sima Liang said, if they can rush in, they can definitely rush out. We just have to wait here. When they come out, we'll kill them, and then we'll get the map and the key. The 3 of us will rely on our own abilities. Wan Tianqing's eyes were cold. He had to kill Lu Ming. That brat. Why is he able to cultivate the 10,000 soldier art? Could it be because of his domain? That kid's domain is very similar to the legendary primal chaos domain. But in this world, is there really someone who can cultivate the primal chaos domain? Wan Tianqing's mind was filled with thoughts. The 3 of them had been guarding outside the cave. Meanwhile, Lu Ming was making the best use of his time to cultivate. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed. Inside the cave, Lu Ming's figure kept flickering as he fought against the puppets. Lu Ming's spear was like a dragon and his sword was piercing through the sky. His strength was shocking as he kept clashing with the puppets. Bang, bang, bang. After a few collisions, Lu Ming borrowed the powerful force and retreated to the safe zone. Where did this Lu Ming come from? He's so talented. It seems like he's improving every day. He has reached the 9th layer Martial Dominator realm from the 8th layer Martial Dominator realm in such a short time. Huang Ling's eyes were filled with astonishment. During this period, Huang Ling had already recovered from her injuries. She had also fought against the puppets, but her improvement was not as fast as Lu Ming's. My domain has reached the middle stage of the 9th layer. Lu Ming smiled. In fact, 5 days ago, Lu Ming's domain had broken through the 9th layer. Then, he had swallowed a large number of origin stones and raised his cultivation to the 9th layer Martial Dominator realm. Now, his chaotic domain had improved again and reached the middle stage of the 9th layer. Am I born to fight? My cultivation speed is really fast in the midst of battle. Even Lu Ming was surprised by his improvement. In a life-and-death battle, he was usually highly focused and his mind was abnormally active. Regardless of whether it was martial skills or domains, the speed of his comprehension was very shocking. Now, Lu Ming had cultivated the Gale Thunder Steps to the completion stage. His movement was like a thunderstorm and his speed was amazing. Now, Lu Ming was waiting for an opportunity. That was Ming Lian's second body, because Ming Lian's second body was about to break through. Ming Lian's second body had already lit 8 spirit lamps. Now, he was about to light 9 spirit lamps. Once Ming Lian's second body lit 9 spirit lamps, he would be able to control the Tai Chi formation disc and its power would be stronger. Then, it would be time for them to strike. Now that my cultivation has broken through, I should be able to seal more sacred weapons, Lu Ming thought. Then, he began to cultivate the 10,000 weapon art. He took out a sacred weapon and began to seal it. A dot of light lit up on Lu Ming's chest. This sacred weapon was successfully sealed. This was the 11th sacred weapon. Back then, Wan Tiancheng had only sealed 12 sacred weapons. I haven't reached my limit yet. Continue. Lu Ming took out another sacred weapon and began to seal it. Not long after, the 12th sacred weapon was successfully sealed. At this time, Lu Ming finally felt that he had reached his limit. If he continued to seal, his body might not be able to take it. With a thought, the 12 acupoints on his body lit up. 12 sacred weapons appeared and floated around his body. What kind of monster is this? He can seal 12 sacred weapons at the 9th layer Martial Royal Realm. Huang Ling was shocked. She was already numb to Lu Ming's various abnormal behaviors. At this time, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Ming Lian's second body had already begun to break through. Inside the mountain and river diagram, a bright spirit flame jumped between Ming Lian's second body's eyebrows. The golden spirit flame was extremely vigorous, burning like a divine flame. The Tai Chi formation disc floated above his head. Light constantly scattered and poured into the second body's body. Inside the second body's sea of consciousness, 8 golden psychic lamps shone brilliantly. Suddenly, the 9th psychic lamp lit up, emitting a golden flame. Buzz. The Tai Chi formation disc scattered rays of light and poured into Lu Ming's mind, causing the flame on the 9th spirit lamp to become more vigorous and bright. At this moment, several spirit rings appeared on the second body's body. There were a total of 9 spirit rings. The first 8 spirit rings each had 10 dots of light, which represented perfection. Only the last golden spirit ring had 9 dots of light. Chapter 16-19. The cultivation of the way of inscription was completely different from that of martial arts before reaching the Saint realm. Inscriptions could be regarded as a simplified version of the Dharma. Inscriptions could directly communicate with heaven and earth and borrow the energy between heaven and earth. Therefore, after reaching the peak of level 9, one could directly communicate with and comprehend the Dharma. However, after reaching the Saint realm, there was basically no difference between the way of inscription and martial arts. After all methods returned to the origin and the great path. No matter what way it was the same in the end. When the way of inscription was cultivated to the Saint realm, it also condensed the Saint heart, transformed spiritual power into Saint power, and controlled the Dharma. It was the same as martial arts. At this time, Lu Ming smiled and looked at Huang Ling. He said, "Now let's go." "Are you sure?" If not, we'll rush out at the end. Don't put yourself in danger, Huang Ling said. She was still worried. Lu Ming's plan was to kill Wan Tianqing. Although Lu Ming had broken through to the 9th level of the martial royal realm, could he really succeed? Don't worry. Even if we can't kill him, they can't do anything to us. Lu Ming smiled confidently. Then he got up and walked toward the puppet formation. He said, "Follow my steps." After saying that, Lu Ming stepped into the puppet formation. A dozen puppets immediately attacked Lu Ming, but those attacks missed. Then he took another step. Huang Ling followed Lu Ming and stepped on the place where Lu Ming had just stepped. In this way, Huang Ling followed Lu Ming's footsteps and stepped on the weakness of the puppet formation. They easily passed through the puppet formation and stepped out of the cave one after another. They're out. As soon as Lu Ming and Huang Ling stepped out of the cave, they heard a cold shout. Then, 3 terrifying auras burst out and locked onto Lu Ming and Huang Ling, especially Wan Tianqing, who emitted a cold, murderous intent. "You're finally out. Huang Ling, I gave you a chance before. Unfortunately, you didn't know how to cherish it," Wan Tianqing said coldly. "Cut the crap. Wan Tianqing, didn't you want to kill me? Let's fight." Lu Ming shouted, and his aura erupted. He took a step forward, and the earth rumbled. 12 light spots were emitted from his body, and 12 sacred weapons were suspended in the air. Each sacred weapon emitted a dazzling brilliance. The aura of the sacred weapons soared into the sky and connected with each other. Lu Ming held the black dragon spear and stabbed it at Wan Tianqing. 12 sacred weapons? Die! Wan Tianqing roared, and 12 sacred weapons appeared on his body. He held a battle sword and slashed at Lu Ming. There was a deep jealousy in his eyes. Lu Ming was actually able to seal the 12 sacred weapons. One had to know that when he sealed the 12 sacred weapons, he had already reached the half-step sage realm. Clang! The black dragon spear and Wan Tianqing's combat sword collided heavily. The battle weapon Qi continued to resist, making rumbling noises. Lu Ming could feel a terrifying force constantly attacking the black dragon spear. That was the power of loss. Even Lu Ming's level 9 chaotic domain seemed to be unable to withstand it. Buzz! The black dragon spear vibrated, and Lu Ming's body rapidly retreated by 5 to 6 steps. Wan Tianqing's eyes turned cold. He did not expect that Lu Ming would be able to withstand his attack and only retreat a few steps. He was not injured. Swoosh! At this moment, Huang Ling rushed to the side. "Where do you think you're going? Stay here." Zhao Kuang and Sima Yang shouted and chased after Huang Ling. Huang Ling, who was flying rapidly, suddenly stopped. Her body was covered in flames. She was bathed in the flames of the immortal heavenly phoenix. Her entire body seemed to have turned into flames. A phoenix cry rang out, and a huge immortal heavenly phoenix bathed in flames rushed out of Huang Ling's body and flew in circles in the sky. Boom! Boom! Then, a large area of flames spread out, enveloping Zhao Kuang and Sima Yang, forming a flaming cage. "Lu Ming, you have to hurry up. I can only hold them off for 3 minutes at most. End this quickly." Huang Ling's voice came from the flames. Then, intense rumbling noises came from the flames, and Zhao Kuang roared like a beast. "End this quickly? Ha ha ha. Does Huang Ling think that you can kill me?" Wan Tianqing laughed crazily as if he had heard a very funny joke. Kill. Lu Ming did not waste any time. He did not have much time. He took a step forward and directly used the divine sword art. His eyes were like swords, blasting into Wan Tianqing's body and his spiritual deity. However, Wan Tianqing's body only trembled slightly before returning to normal. He shouted coldly, "Unfortunately, a soul attack is useless against me. Is this your trump card? You want to kill me with this? I will let you know how naive you are." Whoosh! Wan Tianqing held the battle sword in his hand, and the sword Qi was like a rainbow. The energy of the other 11 battle weapons was added to the battle sword, causing the battle sword's power to reach an astonishing level. He slashed at Lu Ming. A spiritual deity defensive treasure. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Obviously, Wan Tianqing had a spiritual deity defensive treasure. That was why he could block Lu Ming's divine sword art attack. This was normal. It was normal for a genius like Wan Tianqing to have a spiritual deity defensive treasure to protect his soul. After all, soul attacks were impossible to guard against. Without a spiritual deity defensive treasure, one might not even know how they died. Kill. Lu Ming shouted again and still used the divine sword art. Although Wan Tianqing had a spiritual deity defensive treasure, the divine sword art could still interfere. At the same time, Lu Ming held the black dragon spear and unleashed his true origin to the extreme, charging towards Wan Tianqing. Boom, boom. The two exchanged a few moves in a row, but Lu Ming was still at a disadvantage. Is this all you've got? You want to kill me? Naive. Wan Tianqing sneered and attacked Lu Ming. His attack was even more violent, and his sword chi was wild. Lu Ming's eyes were calm. At this moment, his glabella shone, and a pagoda floated out. Buzz. Suddenly, there was a strange fluctuation from the pagoda. A transparent bubble suddenly appeared around Wan Tianqing's body and enveloped him. Space-time domain. You have a space-time domain treasure. Wan Tianqing roared and unleashed his full strength. The Dharma surrounded his body and broke the shackles of the space-time domain, trying to destroy the transparent bubble. However, the bubble had reached the 9th level of the martial royal realm. As a space-time spirit mouse, one of the top 10 battle beasts, its talent was beyond doubt. Even though it was still young, it was still very terrifying. Its talent had completely surpassed that of an inferior heaven spiritual body like Wan Tianqing. Therefore, even though the bubble's cultivation was far behind Wan Tianqing's, its combat strength was not too far behind. Wan Tianqing couldn't break the transparent bubble at all. Bang! Bang! Lu Ming stepped on the void, holding a spear in one hand and a sword in the other, and charged towards Wan Tianqing. The space-time domain had no effect on Lu Ming. Chapter 1620. Wan Tianqing roared. 12 holy weapons surrounded his body. There were all kinds of holy weapons, including several defensive ones. Each holy weapon was surrounded by the power of law. Wan Tianqing used the defensive holy weapon to protect his body. At the same time, he waved his battle sword to fight against the space-time blade and fought against Lu Ming. For a moment, the two sides were tied. Wan Tianqing was indeed very powerful. With the inferior heavenly spiritual body, his body was as sharp as a divine weapon. Coupled with the law of weapons, he could destroy everything. Even with the help of bubbles, Lu Ming could only tie with Wan Tianqing. Lu Ming had broken through to the 9th level of the martial royal realm. If he was in the 8th level of the martial royal realm, he would not be a match for him at all. Lu Ming and Bubbles were at a disadvantage because of the law. The two of them only used the realm. The realm and the law were two completely different concepts. No matter how strong the chaotic realm and the space-time realm were, there was still a gap between them and Wan Tianqing's law of weapons. Of course, if Lu Ming went one step further and turned the 9th level realm into an ultimate realm, its power would soar again. It would not be a problem for him to suppress Wan Tianqing. Boom, boom. The two sides kept colliding with each other. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged dozens of blows. Damn it, how can this guy be so strong? Wan Tianqing roared in his heart. When he first met Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the peak of the 6th level of the martial royal realm. In Wan Tianqing's eyes, Lu Ming was an ant that he could kill easily. But now, Lu Ming's cultivation had soared to the 9th level of the martial royal realm. Even Wan Tianqing was shocked by the speed of his progress. However, he didn't take a 9th level martial royal realm seriously at all. Even if he was also a genius with an inferior heavenly spiritual body, he could kill him with one slap. However, Lu Ming relied on his own strength and a treasure that could release the space-time realm to tie with him. This made him even more determined to kill Lu Ming. Otherwise, when Lu Ming went one step further and broke through to the half-saint, he would be no match for him at all. Kill, kill. Wan Tianqing roared. 2 more light spots lit up on his body. 2 more saint weapons flew out from the 2 dots of light. There were a total of 14 saint weapons, and the battle weapon chi of the 14 saint weapons stacked together, making them even more powerful. Sure enough, Wan Tianqing had been holding back before. Whoosh, whoosh. Sword light streaked across the sky. Bubble's space-time domain was forcibly broken by Wan Tianqing. At the same time, Lu Ming was repelled. Die! Wan Tianqing roared. His eyes flashed with killing intent as he charged towards Lu Ming. Primal chaos flipping heaven seal. Lu Ming muttered as he released the saint weapon in his hand. A chaotic cyclic sky seal appeared on his palm. Lu Ming smashed the chaotic flipping sky seal towards Wan Tianqing. Boom! With an earth-shattering boom, Lu Ming and Wan Tianqing's bodies shook at the same time and retreated. Impossible! Wan Tianqing roared in his heart. Lu Ming still had a trump card that he hadn't used yet. Wan Tianqing had done his best, but he still couldn't defeat Lu Ming. It was hard for him to accept. The chaotic flipping sky seal at 60% power is still too weak. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. Just now, he had used 60% of the chaotic flipping sky seal. In fact, when Lu Ming used the 10,000 weapon art now, the power was already very strong. It was very close to the power of the chaotic flipping sky seal. After all, Lu Ming had only cultivated the chaotic flipping sky seal to the 4th level. Lu Ming couldn't defeat Wan Tianqing with the 10,000 weapon art. Even if he used 60% of the chaotic flipping sky seal, it wouldn't be much stronger. But even so, Wan Tianqing was already shocked. Bang! Lu Ming took a step back and immediately took a step forward. Another chaotic flipping sky seal with 60% of its prowess condensed in his palm. The chaotic flipping sky seal expanded rapidly and pressed down on Wan Tianqing. Break it! Wan Tianqing roared. The 14 holy weapons circled around and formed a terrifying sword chi. It rushed up and blasted on the chaotic flipping sky seal. Boom! The chaotic flipping sky seal trembled and then collapsed. The battle weapon chi on Wan Tianqing's battle sword also collapsed, and he retreated a few steps. Lu Ming, you can't do anything to me. When Zhao Kuang and Sima Yang break through Huang Ling's obstruction, it will be the time of your death. Wan Tianqing roared. Lu Ming's eyes were cold. He didn't say anything. Another chaotic flipping sky seal condensed in his palm and blasted toward Wan Tianqing. Wan Tianqing tried his best to resist. At this moment, Lu Ming's glabella shone. Ming Lian's second body stepped out. The Tai Chi disc array floated in the air and a Tai Chi pattern appeared. It pressed down on Wan Tianqing. The Tai Chi pattern had terrifying offensive and sealing power. Facing the joint attack of the Tai Chi pattern and the chaotic flipping sky seal, Wan Tianqing was finally defeated. He was sent flying and slid on the ground, leaving a deep gully. He spat out a mouthful of blood. What's going on? A clone? No, it's the same person. Wan Tianqing was shocked when he saw the two Lu Ming. How could the same person have two bodies? Before he could think further, Lu Ming's main body and second body attacked Wan Tianqing again. Previously, Lu Ming didn't use his second body at the beginning because he wanted to catch Wan Tianqing off guard and severely injure him. Don't even think about killing me. Wan Tianqing roared as 14 sacred weapons surrounded him. He already knew that he wasn't a match for Lu Ming. He started to defend with all his strength. He didn't want to make any mistakes. Boom! Boom! Lu Ming's attack blasted toward Wan Tianqing. The 14 sacred weapons around Wan Tianqing glowed and surrounded him with the power of laws. A terrifying explosion sounded, and Wan Tianqing was sent flying. He coughed up blood again, but he was still blocked. Haha, you can't kill me. Zhao Kuang and Sima Yang are about to break free. At that time, you'll be the one to die. Wan Tianqing laughed crazily with a ferocious look on his face. On the other side, Huang Ling was fighting against Zhao Kuang and Sima Yang. The undying cage formed by Huang Ling couldn't hold on for much longer. Is that so? Lu Ming's eyes were still calm. Whoosh! The void shook as Bubble attacked. Space-time blades slashed toward Wan Tianqing. Clang! 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 The space-time blades kept slashing at the sacred weapons around Wan Tianqing, causing them to shake violently. Buzz! At this moment, the sky shook and a mountain-like primal chaos cyclic sky seal appeared. The power that this primal chaos cyclic sky seal exuded was much more terrifying than the previous primal chaos cyclic sky seal. It was a primal chaos cyclic sky seal at full power. Boom! This time, Lu Ming used his full strength. The primal chaos cyclic sky seal at full power suppressed Wan Tianqing. Wan Tianqing's pupils shrank rapidly as fear flashed in his eyes. Block it! I must block it! Wan Tianqing roared in his heart. The true Yuan in his body boiled as if it was going to burn. His spiritual body glowed and surrounded by the power of laws. He squeezed out all the power in his body and burst it out. At this moment, Wan Tianqing seemed to have entered another mysterious realm. His potential was suppressed to the extreme. This is the feeling of the jar of laws. As long as I don't die this time, I will be able to break through to the third stage of the half-saint realm, the jar of laws. Chapter 1621. He didn't expect to be pushed to the limit by Lu Ming. His potential erupted, and he made a major breakthrough. As long as he found a place to cultivate in seclusion for a month, he would be able to break through to the third stage of the half-saint realm. The premise was that he had to survive. Block it. I must block it. As long as Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang break through the encirclement, I won't die. As long as I break through to the third stage of the half-saint realm, my strength will skyrocket. At that time, it will be their time to die. Wan Tianqing roared in his heart. The 14 saint weapons glowed and merged together to form a powerful layer of defense. Boom! The full power of the chaotic sky flipping seal pressed down and bombarded Wan Tianqing's defense. The rock under Wan Tianqing's feet exploded and the ground cracked, creating a huge pit. The saint weapons around Wan Tianqing were blown away one by one. In the end, only a few of them were left floating around his body. Wan Tianqing's face turned pale and he vomited blood. At this moment, the Tai Chi disc above the second body shone and another Tai Chi pattern floated. This time, the Tai Chi pattern suddenly changed. The yin-yang fish separated and turned into two swords, one black and one white. The two yin-yang fish swords emitted a terrifying fluctuation and slashed towards Wan Tianqing. The two yin-yang fish swords were extremely powerful. Wan Tianqing's eyes were filled with despair. He forced himself to use his remaining strength to control the remaining saint weapons around him to block the attack. However, the saint weapons were directly blown away by the yin-yang fish swords. The yin-yang fish swords continued to slash towards Wan Tianqing. No! Wan Tianqing roared in despair. He had just made a major breakthrough. After a while, he would be able to break through to the next stage of the half-race battlefield. At that time, he would be able to dominate the half-race battlefield. He wouldn't even be afraid of a saint stage expert. But now, he was in a desperate situation. How unwilling was he to accept this? Puff, puff. The yin-yang fish sword slashed across and beheaded Wan Tianqing. The other pierced through Wan Tianqing's dantian and destroyed his spiritual deity. Wan Tianqing was dead. Boom. At this moment, Huang Ling's undying cage was broken. She retreated frantically with a pale face and blood dripped from the corner of her mouth. Evidently, Huang Ling had paid quite a price in order to trap Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang. Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang rushed out of the flame cage. However, the two of them retreated at the same time as they looked at Lu Ming in shock. Lu Ming had killed Wan Tianqing. A man of the 9th level of the martial royal realm had killed Wan Tianqing, a peerless genius who had reached the second stage of the half-saint realm. How was that possible? This greatly exceeded Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang's expectations. Their gazes were incomparably grave. If Lu Ming could kill Wan Tianqing, it meant that he could also kill the two of them. Huang Ling, who was standing aside, looked at Lu Ming in shock. Her eyes were filled with complicated emotions. Previously, when Lu Ming said that he wanted to kill Wan Tianqing, she was completely skeptical and took a gamble. If they couldn't kill Wan Tianqing, they could only break out of the encirclement with all their strength. He didn't expect that Lu Ming could really kill Wan Tianqing in just a few minutes. Now, it's your turn. Lu Ming glanced at Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang with a cold gaze. Their expressions changed tremendously. Let's go. Let's leave this place first. Sima Liang let out a furious roar as he dashed out of the valley. Following this, Zhao Kuang followed behind him and left the valley. Although they were unwilling to give up, they had no choice but to give up. Now, only the two of them were left, while Lu Ming and Huang Ling were left. Although Huang Ling was injured, she could easily deal with one of them. If Lu Ming was dealing with the other one, they would be in great danger. They had no choice but to flee under such circumstances. Only Huang Ling and Lu Ming were left in the valley. Huang Ling glanced at Lu Ming alertly and said, "Lu Ming, your strength is quite shocking. You even managed to kill Wan Tianqing. Are you going to attack me?" Lu Ming's strength was too shocking. She could not help but overthink. If Lu Ming attacked her and killed her, he would be able to obtain the map and the key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. Although her immortal heavenly phoenix body was very tenacious, she was not sure if Lu Ming had any other trump cards. "What do you think?" Lu Ming looked at Huang Ling with a faint smile. Huang Ling's expression changed slightly as she took a step back. "Ha ha ha." Lu Ming laughed and said, "Don't worry. You didn't attack me before I broke through. Why would I attack you now? Lu Ming, am not that kind of person. You're injured. Heal yourself first. I need to recover too." After saying that, Lu Ming sat down cross-legged at the side. He took out a pile of origin stones and started devouring them to recover. It was undeniable that Wan Tianqing was indeed powerful and extremely difficult to kill. Just now, in order to kill Wan Tianqing, Lu Ming had used all his trump cards. With the cooperation of the main body and the second body, as well as the help of Bubble, they were able to kill Wan Tianqing. In this battle, Lu Ming had consumed a lot of his genuine essence. He was left with less than half. Ming Lian's second body put away Wan Tianqing's holy weapon and storage ring. Then, he stepped out and disappeared into the main body. When Huang Ling saw Lu Ming recuperating by the side, she secretly heaved a sigh of relief. She patted her chest and then sat cross-legged. Immortal flames spread from her body and she began to recuperate. About half an hour later, the two of them stood up at the same time. "Let's get out of here first," Lu Ming said and walked out. Huang Ling followed closely behind Lu Ming. Roar! When Lu Ming and the others arrived at the Land of Bones, a half-saint demonic creature roared and pounced on Lu Ming. 9 seals of the divine gate. Lu Ming moved his hands. 8 gates of seal appeared and sealed the half-saint demonic creature. At the same time, Lu Ming moved his body and stretched out his claw to grab the demon crystal of the half-saint demonic creature. Now, such an ordinary first-stage half-saint demonic creature was no match for Lu Ming at all. Lu Ming could kill it at will. Roar! Roar! Then, 2 more half-saint demonic creatures pounced on them. One of them had reached the second stage half-saint, the stage of comprehending the laws. Lu Ming called out Bubble to help. He trapped the demonic creature with the space-time domain and easily obtained the demon crystal. Roar! An earth-shattering roar sounded. A huge demonic creature, exuding a terrifying aura, pounced on Lu Ming. A vast holy aura rushed toward him. A saint-level demonic creature. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. A saint-level demonic creature was not something he could defeat now. Even if he joined forces with his second body and Bubble, they would not be a match for a saint-level demonic creature. Behind him, the prison-suppressing steel emerged and grew rapidly. The saint-level demonic creature roared and showed a look of horror. It turned around and ran. However, the other half-saint demonic creatures also ran away and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Lu Ming was speechless. After using the prison-suppressing steel, not only did the saint-level demonic creatures run away, but even the half-saint demonic creatures also ran away. Chapter 1622. Prison-suppressing steel. At the side, Huang Ling revealed a look of shock. She had lost count of the number of times she had been shocked, and it was all because of Lu Ming. How many more secrets did Lu Ming have? Huang Ling realized that she could no longer see through Lu Ming. Lu Ming took out the prison-suppressing steel, and the two of them passed through the valley easily. When they were near the valley, Lu Ming put away the prison-suppressing steel. More than half a month had passed, and there were still a few people wandering outside the valley. When they saw Huang Ling and Lu Ming coming out, their eyes lit up. However, when they looked at Huang Ling, they had a solemn expression. Obviously, Zhao Kuang and Sima Yang had said something after coming out. These people should know that Huang Ling and Lu Ming had obtained the map and key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. Get lost or die, Huang Ling shouted coldly, exuding a cold, murderous intent. Those people's expressions changed drastically and they turned around to leave. Lu Ming smiled and flew toward the exit with Huang Ling at high speed. Lu Ming, I'm really curious. Which Emperor-level force are you from? Huang Ling asked curiously while flying in the air. I'm not from an Emperor-level force. Lu Ming said. Not from an Emperor-level force? How is that possible? Huang Ling was extremely surprised. How was it possible that he was not from an Emperor-level force, and yet he had such combat strength? Huang Ling had thought that Lu Ming was a genius disciple of an ancient sect. Lu Ming smiled and did not explain further. Soon, the two of them arrived at the crack and flew out. Soon, the two of them arrived at a mountain peak. Lu Ming, how about looking at the map? Let's see where the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb is. The two of us can go there now. Huang Ling said. All right. Lu Ming nodded and took out the jade token. After scanning it with his spiritual consciousness, Lu Ming's expression changed. How is it? Seeing Lu Ming's expression change, Huang Ling quickly asked. I'm afraid we can't find the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. Lu Ming said. Can't find it? What's going on? Could it be that this map is fake? Huang Ling said unwillingly. They had spent so much effort to get the map and key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. If it was fake, it would be too much of a blow. It might not be fake. Take a look yourself. Lu Ming said. Then, his true chi poured into the jade token and a picture appeared in the air. Mountain peak of a map of the world of mountains and lakes. However, this map was incomplete. It was easy to tell that this was only a corner of a complete map. Why is there only a corner? Huang Ling's expression. Take a look at your key. Is there anything unusual about it? Lu Ming said. Huang Ling quickly took out the key and looked at it carefully. Sure enough, they found a number on the key. 3. This should be a serial number. It seems like the key and map of the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb are not a set, but divided into several parts. Only by obtaining all of these parts can we find the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb and open it. Lu Ming said. It was obvious that the map they obtained was incomplete. It was also obvious that there was more than one key. What a pity. Huang Ling sighed. Only a part of it was completely useless. As for the other parts, where were they supposed to find them? I have a question that I'm very curious about. How did you know that the map and key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb appeared nearby? Lu Ming asked. Previously, when I was traveling, I was ambushed by the natives, but they were killed by me. I learned about it from the natives who ambushed me. Huang Ling explained. A native? Lu Ming frowned and said, It's obvious that Zhao Kuang, Sima Liang, Wan Tianqing, and the others are here too. Most likely. Huang Ling nodded. Since that's the case, it's possible that more people know about it. Therefore, I'm guessing that other maps and keys have appeared in other places. If we want to open the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb, I'm afraid we'll have to cooperate with those who have the maps and keys. Lu Ming pondered for a moment and said, It's very likely. Legend has it that when the 1,000-killing martial emperor obtained the tomb of the Great Massacre Emperor, the keys to open the tomb were also distributed to many people. It's most likely the same this time. Huang Ling's eyes lit up. She then looked at Lu Ming and said, Lu Ming, let's go to Darkwater City. Perhaps we'll be able to obtain some information there. Darkwater City? Lu Ming was puzzled. You probably haven't stepped into the depths of the 100-tribe battlefield yet. In the depths of the 100-tribe battlefield, the natives have built a total of 4 huge cities. Darkwater City is one of them. It can be said to be one of the largest cities in the 100-tribe battlefield. Almost all of the strongest geniuses from the various forces who have entered the 100-tribe battlefield have gathered near these 4 cities. Those who can obtain the map and key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb are definitely not weak. Therefore, we might be able to obtain some useful information from Darkwater City. Huang Ling explained. The place where the strongest geniuses gather. All right, let's go to Darkwater City. Lu Ming's eyes lit up and he agreed without hesitation. With his current cultivation, there was no value in gaining experience in the periphery of the 100-tribe battlefield. Only by entering the depths of the 100-tribe battlefield would he be able to encounter stronger opponents. After their discussion, the two of them flew towards the depths of the 100-tribe battlefield. Along the way, they encountered some young geniuses. However, when Huang Ling's aura was revealed, the expressions of those geniuses changed drastically. None of them would overestimate themselves and challenge them. The two of them hurried along at an astonishing speed. In just 2 days, a huge city appeared in front of them. Looking from afar, the city was vast and majestic. It was like a huge beast crawling in front of them. That was Dark Water City. Before the city gate of Dark Water City, there was a huge lake. The strange thing was that the water in the lake was dark and looked pitch black. There were many figures above the lake, and they stood in the air. At a glance, they were all young people. There were both men and women, but all of them had powerful auras. Half-saints. Lu Ming looked over and found that most of these young people were half-saints. Some of them even exuded a faint power of law. Obviously, they were existences who had stepped into the second stage of the half-saint realm. Only a few of them were below the half-saint realm. There were very few of them. So many experts. No wonder it's one of the 4 largest cities in the depths of the 100-tribe battlefield. Lu Ming exclaimed in his heart. At a glance, they were all half-saints and geniuses. It was a spectacular sight. Boom, boom. On the surface of the lake, there were continuous roars. 2 figures were fiercely fighting. The lake water tumbled under the terrifying force, stirring up thousands of waves. A red figure and a blue figure were surrounded by the power of law. The power of law was constantly colliding with each other. These 2 were experts in the second stage of the half-saint realm. The others were watching the battle between the 2. What's going on? Chapter 1623. As far as Lu Ming knew, there was an Azura platform in every city. Why were these young geniuses having a great battle here? Lu Ming, Darkwater City is one of the 4 largest cities in the 100-tribe battlefield. The local experts in the city are also very strong. I'm afraid there will be someone at the peak of the Bright Sage realm. Huang Ling explained. The natives had lived in the 100-tribe battlefield since they were young, so they had adapted to the chaotic laws of the 100-tribe battlefield. Some of the more talented ones could cultivate to the Saint realm. However, the strongest could only reach the Bright Sage realm. The peak of the Bright Sage realm was the strongest in the 100-tribe battlefield. The peak of the Bright Saint realm is too strong. With my strength, I'm afraid I won't be able to fight back. That's why no one dares to make a move in Darkwater City. However, there's only one Azura stage, and it's in short supply. Therefore, many Sky Prides will fight outside the city. Huang Ling continued to explain. Lu Ming nodded. It was easy to understand. Outside the city, the local experts would not care about it. Lu Ming and Huang Ling's arrival attracted many people's attention. Many people looked at them. When most people saw Huang Ling, their faces changed and they looked grave and fearful. Lu Ming thought to himself that Huang Ling was very famous in Darkwater City. She was also very powerful. The heavenly spiritual body seemed to be a terrifying existence even in the depths of the 100-tribe battlefield. Of course, many people looked at Lu Ming in surprise. ALV9 Martial Royal Realm Cultivator dares to come to Darkwater City. It's rare. Any LV9 Martial Royal Realm Cultivator who dares to come to Darkwater City has great combat strength. They are very confident in their own combat strength. This person is with Huang Ling. Is he also a powerful cultivator? That's hard to say. Those who are not strong enough will also come to see the world. Some people looked at Lu Ming and whispered among themselves. Bam! Bam! At this moment, a young man stepped on the void and landed in front of Lu Ming, emitting the aura of a peak LV9 Martial Emperor. A powerful aura directly locked onto Lu Ming. It's Huang Qi. This guy has his eyes on the 9th layer Martial Dominator. Huang Qi's combat strength is very strong. With his cultivation at the peak of the 9th level of the Martial Royal Realm, he once fought with a Stage 1 Sage to be expert for more than 100 moves before he was defeated. It seems that he is eager to hunt. Some people in the surroundings spoke with the mentality of watching a good show. 9th layer of the Martial Emperor Realm, since you dare to come to Darkwater City, you must be very confident in your battle strength. Now, let's fight. Holy Lady Huang Ling, you won't interfere, right? Huang Qi looked at Lu Ming with battle intent. His last sentence was directed at Huang Ling, "As you wish." Huang Ling waved her hands casually and took a few steps back, implying that she would not interfere. However, her eyes were filled with pity as she glanced at Huang Qi. This guy dares to challenge Lu Ming. He's courting death. If he knew that Lu Ming had even slain the 10,000 celestial realm, his expression would be even more shocking. "You are no match against me," Lu Ming said calmly. He was not interested in a ninth-layer martial dominator realm cultivator, as it would not be useful for him to train himself. Lu Ming was too lazy to even attack him. That being said, he was telling the truth, but to Huang Qi's ears, it sounded like Lu Ming was being full of himself. "How arrogant! I've even fought against a half-sage to be. You're quite arrogant when you're only a ninth-layer martial dominator realm cultivator. We'll know if I'm your match after the battle." Huang Qi's eyes became cold as his aura grew stronger. At that instant, Lu Ming's eyes became cold. This was because he felt a sharp qi attack his back at a frightening speed. Without hesitation, Lu Ming turned around and lashed out a punch. Clang! Lu Ming's punch collided with a long sword that was as thin as a cicada's wings. A terrifying fist and tint exploded as a figure appeared out of nowhere and was sent flying by the force. This figure was wearing a black robe. His entire body was covered by the black robe. Only a pair of eyes could be seen, and they were filled with shock. "It's the assassin of the 1,000 Assassins sect," someone yelled. Whoosh! The assassin of the 1,000 Assassins sect immediately executed his movement technique after failing to kill Lu Ming. His figure was emitting the aura of the ultimate domain. The assassin's cultivation was at the first layer half-martial sacred realm, which was similar to the two assassins that had tried to assassinate Lu Ming previously. "You want to leave after failing to assassinate me? Did I allow you to do so?" Lu Ming coldly spoke. Wind and lightning aura flashed around his body. With a ripping sound, Lu Ming's figure shot out like a bolt of lightning. He tore through the void and chased after the assassin with shocking speed. The assassin of the 1,000 Assassins sect was extremely fast. However, Lu Ming's wind lightning steps had already been cultivated to perfection. With the help of the wind-freezing pearl, his speed was even more shocking. He was far above the assassin of the 1,000 Assassins sect. Many people only saw a flash of lightning, and Lu Ming's figure appeared above the assassin of the 1,000 Assassins sect. Then, he raised his foot and stomped down on the assassin. Lu Ming executed the hell-suppressing heavenly art. His entire body seemed to have transformed into a huge, hell-suppressing steel that could suppress everything. Boom! This stomp destroyed all the attacks and defenses of the 1,000 Assassins sect's assassin. Then, it heavily stomped on the assassin's head. Bang! The assassin's head and body were like a watermelon that exploded in the air. One move and he was dead. This assassin was also a genius. He had a superior earth spiritual body and was in the first stage of the half-saint realm. Although he couldn't be ranked among the top 10 monstrous geniuses in the Tsang province, he was still one of the stronger ones. However, he was instantly killed by Lu Ming. After coming to the 100-tribe battlefield for a few months, Lu Ming's strength had unknowingly increased by leaps and bounds. What powerful battle strength! Many young geniuses in the surroundings narrowed their eyes and revealed looks of shock. Lu Ming's cultivation was very clear. He was in the early 9th stage of the Martial King realm. However, he had killed a first-stage half-saint genius in one move. Such battle strength was shocking. Many people present were in the first stage of the half-saint realm. If they encountered Lu Ming, they would probably end up in the same situation. Some of the second-stage half-saints who had comprehended the laws had extremely serious expressions. "Another heaven's spiritual body," someone said solemnly. There weren't many heaven's spiritual bodies even in Darkwada City, which was the center of the 100-tribe battlefield. Each one of them was extremely powerful. Heaven's spiritual bodies weren't cabbages that could be found everywhere. Some Emperor-level forces that weren't very lucky might not even have a single heaven's spiritual body. For example, there were no heaven's spiritual bodies in the Tsang province. According to Lu Ming's knowledge, there were no heaven's spiritual bodies in the Cloud Emperor Mountain. At this moment, Huang Qi was completely dumbfounded. Do you still want to fight?" Lu Ming looked at Huang Qi. His casual words made Huang Qi's face turn red. Chapter 1624. Back then, he had fought with a first-stage sage-to-be genius for 100 moves before he was defeated. He had always been proud of that, but now, he was nothing compared to Lu Ming. Lu Ming had killed a first-stage sage-to-be expert with a stomp. If he fought with Lu Ming, he would not even need a stomp. He would only need half a stomp. Previously, Lu Ming had said that he was not qualified to fight, and that was the truth. However, he had said that Lu Ming was arrogant. It was obvious that he was ignorant. Get lost. Lu Ming shouted coldly. Huang Qi left with a red face. This person is very strong. No wonder he can be with Huang Ling. Birds of a feather flock together. It's normal for a heavenly spiritual body to be with a heavenly spiritual body. However, this person's cultivation is too low. It will be difficult for him to compete with other heavenly spiritual bodies. That's right. Unless his cultivation increases. Lu Ming naturally heard these words, but he only smiled faintly and did not take it to heart. Huang Ling, do you have a way to get rid of the slaughter mark of the Thousand Slayer Mansion? Lu Ming stepped in front of Huang Ling and asked. He had the slaughter mark of the Thousand Slayer Mansion on him. As long as the Thousand Slayer Mansion's assassins were within a certain range, they would be able to find him through the slaughter mark. He was not afraid, but it was annoying. Huang Ling shook her head and said, From what I know, the slaughter mark of the Thousand Slayer Mansion is extremely difficult to get rid of. Moreover, the more Thousand Slayer Mansion's assassins are killed, the stronger the slaughter mark will be and the easier it will be for the Thousand Slayer Mansion's assassins to sense it. Only a martial emperor expert can get rid of the slaughter mark. A martial emperor expert. Lu Ming shook his head bitterly. Where could he find a martial emperor expert? There was definitely none in the 100-tribe battlefield. Even if he left the 100-tribe battlefield, there was not a single martial emperor expert in the Tsang state. There were martial emperors in other domains, but martial emperors were superior and looked down on the world. Why would they help Lu Ming, who was only a martial emperor? It seemed like he would have to be more careful in the future to prevent assassinations from the Thousand Slayers Manor. His main body couldn't stay in the mountain and river diagram every day. He needed to comprehend the great Tao of heaven and earth, and he needed to train and fight. His second body couldn't stay in the mountain and river diagram every day and use the Tai Chi disc array to improve his spirit flame. Lu Ming, the assassins of the Thousand Slayer Manor are feared by even other emperor-ranked forces. Normally, they wouldn't dare to kill the assassins of the Thousand Slayer Manor. At most, they'd cripple them. Because once you're infected by the slaughter mark, you'll have to face endless assassination attempts. You have to be careful in the future, Huang Ling warned. Lu Ming nodded, following which, the two of them headed towards Darkwada City. Darkwada City was several times larger than the city Lu Ming had stayed in before. The young men walking on the street all had powerful auras. Most of them were at the half-saint realm. Soon, Huang Ling brought Lu Ming to a huge hall. At the top of the hall, the 3 words Phoenix Palace were majestic. Lu Ming, I'm from the Phoenix Palace, an emperor-ranked force. This is the temporary lodging of the Phoenix Palace in the 100-tribe battlefield, Huang Ling explained. The 100-tribe battlefield was a place where many emperor-ranked forces went to train. Therefore, many powerful emperor-ranked forces would purchase palaces in the huge cities of the 100-tribe battlefield as temporary lodgings. After all, they would be exhausted after training outside and fighting with experts. They would need a place to rest and cultivate in seclusion. Saintess. As soon as they entered the hall, 2 young men and women bowed to Huang Ling. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. It seemed that Huang Ling had a high status in the Phoenix Palace. She was the saintess. Huang Ling nodded and led Lu Ming into the depths of the Phoenix Palace. Along the way, they met no less than 20 young men and women. Among these young men and women, the men were handsome and the women were beautiful. All of them were at the half-saint realm and had superior earth spiritual bodies. Similar to the Dragon God Valley, almost everyone in the Phoenix Palace had awakened the Phoenix bloodline and cultivated the Phoenix battle body. So many geniuses. It seems that the Phoenix Palace is a terrifying existence even among the emperor-ranked forces. Along the way, Lu Ming was secretly shocked. He had met so many geniuses along the way. Any one of them would be a top genius in the Zhangzhou. Some of them had unfathomable auras and were surrounded by nomological laws. They were obviously second-stage half-saints. There were even half-saints with nomological laws. In the Zhangzhou, such people could compete with the top 10 demon geniuses. This was probably just the tip of the iceberg for the Phoenix Palace. One should know that those above the Saint Realm were not allowed to enter the 100-tribe battlefield. Did the Phoenix Palace not have any geniuses above the Saint Realm? Absolutely. The Yuan continent is huge, and there are too many geniuses. The Zhangzhou is just a corner of it. Thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. Now, his way of thinking was slowly changing. His vision was no longer limited to the Zhang prefecture. The divine sons would eventually become his stepping stones. His opponents would be the peerless geniuses of the emperor-ranked forces in the Yuan continent. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with a strong desire to fight. He felt his blood boiling. Lu Ming, you can stay here for the time being, Huang Ling said as they arrived at a courtyard. All right, Lu Ming nodded. During this period, I will send people to Dark Water City to look for information about the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. If there are other maps of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb or the appearance of the key, it will not be hidden. Once there is news, I will inform you. Huang Ling said, It seems that I was right to work with you. It will save me a lot of trouble. Lu Ming smiled. How will you repay me? Huang Ling smiled and looked at Lu Ming flirtatiously. When such a beautiful woman said such flirtatious words, even with Lu Ming's composure, his heart skipped a beat. Didn't I say that you and I are like dragons and phoenixes? Why don't we do it together? Lu Ming said with a smile. Tisk, is this how you repay me? Aren't you taking advantage of me? Huang Ling rolled her eyes at Lu Ming. She lifted her feet gently and left the place. Lu Ming laughed, pushed open the door of the courtyard and walked in. The courtyard was huge. Lu Ming walked into a random room and entered the mountain river diagram. He sat under the tree of enlightenment and pondered quietly. Dark Water City is where the geniuses of various emperor-ranked forces gather. Although there are not many geniuses like Huang Ling, there are still quite a few of them. Maybe there are geniuses who are stronger than Huang Ling. If the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb really opens, those who enter will be extremely powerful. My combat strength is still not enough. Lu Ming thought to himself. Now, he could suppress someone like Wan Tianqing with the help of his main body and second body. With the help of Bubble, he could take them by surprise and kill them. However, if Lu Ming's main body was alone, he would not be a match for someone like Wan Tianqing. He had to improve his strength as soon as possible. Now, there were two main ways for him to improve his strength. One was to improve his cultivation. When his cultivation improved, his strength would naturally skyrocket. Chapter 1625. Lu Ming sat cross-legged under the Enlightenment ancient tree and cultivated wholeheartedly. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. It's too slow. Without a big battle, it's too slow to cultivate like this. Lu Ming ended his cultivation and muttered to himself. In fact, his cultivation speed was quite fast because he had comprehended the Tao under the Enlightenment ancient tree with the help of the heavenly law stone. However, it was much slower than the speed of cultivation in a fight. There are so many geniuses here. It's a good opportunity to train with someone. It's a pity to miss it. Lu Ming smiled and changed into a black robe. He walked out of the mountain and river diagram and headed out of Darkwater City. After leaving Darkwater City, he looked at the lake not far away and saw many young men standing above the lake. There were also 2 young men who were fighting fiercely. Lu Ming's palm glowed, and an Azura mask appeared in his hand. He put it on his face and instantly looked more ferocious. Lu Ming had used the Azura mask when his cultivation was not high. With its material, a high-level martial royal realm expert could see through it at a glance. However, Lu Ming covered it with his true core strength so that others could not see through it. Wearing the Azura mask, Lu Ming stepped forward and walked toward the young men. His body was emitting a cold aura. Some people were alarmed and looked at Lu Ming. When they saw Lu Ming wearing the Azura mask, they were surprised. A rank 9 martial royal realm cultivator wearing a mask is deliberately mystifying and deceiving us. Someone snorted and looked at Lu Ming coldly. Boom. All of a sudden, Lu Ming made his move. He took a step forward and appeared above the person who had spoken. Then, he stepped out. A towering foot was formed. Like the foot of a god, it stomped towards the person who spoke. "You're courting death." The person shouted, and his true core strength burst out. His aura soared and condensed into a battle saber that slashed toward Lu Ming. The battle saber carried the power of law. This person was a stage 2 half-saint. He had a superior earthly spiritual body. His battle prowess was astonishing. His blade was earth-shattering. Just when many people thought that Lu Ming would be killed with one strike, the result was beyond their expectations. Boom. The gigantic foot stomped down, and the saber shattered. The gigantic foot continued to stomp down. Lu Ming stomped the second stage half-saint into the lake below, causing him to spit out a mouthful of blood. "Kill!" Lu Ming shouted. His fist glowed as he punched out. A terrifying fist energy seemed to have pierced through the void and blasted toward the lake below. Boom! The lake water surged up to the sky, and the waves surged. The lake water in that area was blasted away by the fist force, and the bottom of the lake was exposed. A huge crater had appeared at the bottom of the lake. The second stage semi-sage expert was lying in the crater. He was no longer breathing. He had been killed by Lu Ming. Lu Ming stretched out his hand and sucked. His quintessential essence was like a ribbon, coiling up the other party's interspatial ring. The lake water flowed backwards, and that genius remained at the bottom of the lake forever. So powerful. Many people were shocked. Although the person wearing the Azura mask was only a 9th stage martial royal realm cultivator, he was not pretending to be mysterious. He was an extremely terrifying existence. Which force is this genius from? Some people guessed. After all, there were too many Emperor-level forces. Every day, there would be geniuses from Emperor-level forces joining. No one knew what kind of geniuses would appear. Whoosh! Lu Ming's gaze was like lightning, and it was as cold as a knife as he scanned the surroundings. Some people could not help but feel a chill in their hearts when Lu Ming's gaze swept past them. "You, fight with me." Lu Ming's gaze was fixed on a blood-robed youth. He took a step forward and punched at the youth. After being in the 100-clan battlefield for several months, Lu Ming had already gotten used to the rules here. There were no rules here, only tempering and challenges. Here, you did not need any reason to fight with anyone. Lu Ming was here to fight with experts. He did not want to waste time, so he took the initiative to attack. "Don't think that you can fight with me just because you killed a piece of trash. Kill." Seeing that Lu Ming dared to attack him, the blood-robed youth immediately erupted with a terrifying killing intent. His body was covered in a bloody light as he punched out a blood-red palm print, which blasted toward Lu Ming. Boom! Boom! Lu Ming punched out 2 more times, which collided with the blood-red palm print. A terrifying fluctuation was emitted, and Lu Ming's fist force was directly dispersed. The blood-red palm print did not stop, and it carried a terrifying power of law as it blasted toward Lu Ming. Amazing! The heavenly spiritual body is indeed powerful. Lu Ming was not surprised, but delighted. He took a step forward and poured his true essence into the flowing essence gloves. He punched out and smashed the blood-red palm print, then continued to attack the blood-robed youth. This blood-robed youth was a heavenly spiritual body, a genius on the same level as Huangling and Wan Tianqing. If Lu Ming wanted to fight, he would naturally choose someone who was extremely strong. Weak people were useless. Blood Demon's great palm. The blood-robed youth let out a roar as a bloody glow filled the air. His body seemed to have turned into a bloody aura as he unleashed the power of the law of blood. A giant palm print was formed and pressed down on Lu Ming, trying to smash Lu Ming into a pulp. Lu Ming's body glowed. One by one, bright spots shone and 12 sacred weapons appeared. Lu Ming grabbed the black dragon spear and poured his battle weapon qi into it. The chaotic domain covered the spear and turned it into a mountainous spear glow that stabbed into the sky. Boom! A shocking explosion took place as the spear glow and the blood-red palm print dissipated at the same time. That's the 10,000 weapon art. He's from the Wan clan. The Wan clan has such a terrifying genius. He's so powerful at the ninth layer martial dominator realm. Some people exclaimed in disbelief, "Kill the people of the Wan clan." The blood-robed youth was extremely powerful as he flew forward with a cold, murderous intent. The bloody aura on his body grew thicker, as if it had turned into a bloody ocean. Whoosh! A blood-red flag appeared in his hand. He waved the blood-red flag, and it expanded rapidly. Together with the bloody ocean, it flew toward Lu Ming to wrap around him. Break! Lu Ming threw out the black dragon spear in his hand. It was like a black lightning bolt that pierced through the bloody ocean. At the same time, Lu Ming held a sacred weapon in his hand and stepped forward. He slashed out with his sword, and a shocking sword chi appeared as if it was going to split the heavens and earth. The bloody ocean was split open, but after rolling for a while, it merged back together. The black dragon spear flew back without any effect. The bloody ocean spread out, and the blood-red flag covered the sky, enveloping Lu Ming. Turn into a pool of bloody water. The blood-robed youth said coldly, "The man with the Shura mask is doomed. He's going to die after being enveloped by the blood prison flag. He's going to turn into a pool of bloody water." That's right. The blood prison flag is so powerful that even geniuses of the same level as him would not dare to be enveloped by it. Although the masked man's strength is terrifying, he's only a ninth-layer martial dominator realm cultivator. Another genius has fallen. Discussions broke out in all directions. Even the two youths who had been fighting at the beginning had stopped fighting. Lu Ming was enveloped by the blood prison flag, which covered the sky. He looked around and saw nothing but a sea of blood. A terrifying bloody aura was seeping toward Lu Ming, trying to refine Lu Ming into a pool of bloody water. Chapter 1626. Lu Ming was surrounded by 12 saint weapons. He held the black dragon spear in his hand and performed the 13 strikes. Whoosh! A huge spear light pierced forward, as if it wanted to pierce through the heavens and earth. However, when the spear light pierced into the sea of blood, a huge passageway was pierced through the sea of blood. However, the sea of blood churned and reformed. There was no strength at all. It felt like there was no way to use it. Whoosh! Lu Ming switched to the saint weapon battle sword and slashed out a vast sword chi, but it was still useless. It couldn't break the sea of blood. A heaven's spiritual body is indeed powerful, Lu Ming whispered. The scarlet-robed youth's combat strength was not weaker than Wan Tianqing. If Lu Ming called out Bubbles and Ming Lian, he could naturally suppress the opponent. However, that would be meaningless. Lu Ming was here to hone himself. Boom! Boom! Immediately, Lu Ming began to launch a frenzied attack. He used the long spear, the combat sword, the combat saber, and the hell-suppressing heaven skill. All kinds of attacks were launched one after another, bombarding the vast sea of blood. The sea of blood kept rolling and shaking violently. However, the sea of blood still didn't break, but such attacks weren't useless. At least, they could stop the sea of blood from invading and resist the refining power. Outside the sea of blood, young Master Blood Prison stood above the sea of blood, his eyes cold. Humph! Struggle. Even if you struggle for a while, you will still die in the end. Young Master Blood Prison said coldly. His body became more and more blurred, as if he was about to turn into a bloody light and merge into the sea of blood. Whoosh! 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 In the sea of blood, the bloody light began to change, condensing into battle swords and spears, attacking Lu Ming. Good! Lu Ming was fearless. He held the spear in one hand and the sword in the other, clashing with the bloody light. In the blink of an eye, a few minutes had passed, and the battle was still going on. Great, haha. Your sea of blood can't refine me at all. Lu Ming laughed, his voice passing through the sea of blood. This made young Master Blood Prison's face turn even uglier. Let's see how long you can last. Young Master Blood Hell shouted coldly. His body transformed into a mass of blood-red light and merged with the sea of blood, making the sea of blood even more powerful. In front of Lu Ming, the sea of blood roiled, and suddenly, a huge face appeared. It was none other than Prince Bloodjail's face. Kill! The face roared, and boundless blood-red light shot towards Lu Ming. The black dragon's spear shook and turned into a spear light that stabbed towards the blood-red light. At the same time, the battle sword in his left hand slashed out, and a huge sword chi slashed out. Boom! Boom! This time, the power of the blood light was even stronger. Lu Ming's body shook greatly, and he could not help retreating repeatedly. With his main body alone, he was no match for a genius like Prince Blood Prison. Kill! At this time, Lu Ming suddenly shouted. The divine sword's secret art burst out and turned into two black sword lights, piercing into the sea of blood. Ah, it's a soul attack. Amidst the blood sea, young Master Blood Prison's pained roar resounded. Whoosh! Whoosh! Two sword lights shot out from Lu Ming's eyes again and pierced into the sea of blood. Prince Blood Prison screamed again in the sea of blood. The sea of blood roiled violently, and Prince Blood Prison's body recondensed in the sea of blood. His face was pale. It was not that he did not have a spiritual deity defense treasure, but when his body turned into a blood-red light and merged with the sea of blood, it meant that his soul was also scattered. Naturally, the spiritual deity defense treasure lost its effect, and Lu Ming had injured his soul. He had to recondense his body so that the spiritual deity defense treasure could be effective. However, when he recondensed his body, the power of the sea of blood was naturally weakened. Chaos! Lu Ming shouted, and his hands moved rapidly. Outside the sea of blood, in the sky, a huge chaos-flipping sky seal condensed. Its size was not smaller than the sea of blood. This was the chaos-flipping sky seal that Lu Ming had unleashed with all his strength. What a terrifying attack! Outside, many geniuses were pale when they saw the huge chaos-flipping sky seal in the sky. They felt that if such an attack landed on them, their souls would be scattered. Boom! The chaos-flipping sky seal pressed down on the sea of blood. Rumble! The sea of blood shook violently and rolled crazily, erupting a terrifying confrontation with the chaos-flipping sky seal. In the sky, there were continuous explosions. There's an exit. In the sea of blood, Lu Ming looked up, and his eyes lit up. The chaos-flipping sky seal collided with the sea of blood, and finally, a gap was created. Lu Ming used the wind thunder step, and with a step, his body turned into wind and thunder, and instantly rushed out of the gap, rushing out of the sea of blood. That guy rushed out. Some people exclaimed in shock. It should be known that it was not easy to rush out of young Master Blood Prison's sea of blood. Very few people could do it. Boom! At this time, the chaos-flipping sky seal, due to the continuous collision with the sea of blood, finally exhausted its energy and exploded. However, the sea of blood had also withered a lot. This was not because the chaos-flipping sky seal was not powerful, but mainly because Lu Ming's cultivation was too weak. The sea of blood contained the power of law. Also, the chaos-flipping sky seal was still at the 4th level, so its power was naturally limited. Even if you rush out of the sea of blood, you still have to die. The young master of the blood prison shouted coldly. The sea of blood condensed into a blood flag, and he held it in his hand. The blood light on his body continuously surged into the blood flag. The blood flag expanded to 100,000 feet in size and swept toward Lu Ming. Buzz! Lu Ming's long spear swept out, and it also became 10,000 feet large. The two of them made a terrifying collision, and heaven and earth roared. Lu Ming stepped on the void and retreated. In a head-on confrontation, he was no match for young Master Blood Prison. Kill, kill, kill. The 10,000 feet blood flag swept toward Lu Ming continuously. Lu Ming put down the black dragon spear, holding a chaos-flipping sky seal in his hand, and smashed it toward Lu Ming. This chaos-flipping sky seal had about 60% of its power. Boom! The chaos-flipping sky seal was defeated by the blood flag. But then, a few more chaos-flipping sky seals appeared in Lu Ming's hand, and he continuously smashed them out. The two of them fought fiercely, and they continuously exchanged more than 10 blows. Although Lu Ming was at a disadvantage, it was impossible for young Master Blood Prison to kill Lu Ming in a short time. Boom! Another earth-shattering roar sounded, and Lu Ming retreated quickly. Ha ha ha, today is a good day. Let's fight another day. Lu Ming laughed, and his body flashed, heading toward Darkwater City behind him. You want to leave? Stay. Young Master Blood Prison shouted, and his killing intent was as cold as a knife. Today, he had been provoked by a man of LV9 Martial Royal Realm. In the end, he had not defeated his opponent. How could he show his face? He would not be reconciled if he did not kill Lu Ming. He waved the blood flag and quickly chased after Lu Ming. But Lu Ming used the Gale Thunder Steps, and his speed suddenly increased. In a flash, he had rushed into Darkwater City. Damn it! Young Master Blood Prison roared, but he could only stop. Chapter 1627. In the previous battle, his true origin was about to be exhausted. However, he had used all his strength in the battle, but he was still suppressed by his opponent. However, he had gained new insights from the battle. He had a new understanding of the Heaven and Earth Tao. As long as he digested it, he would definitely make progress. Soon, he returned to the Phoenix Palace and entered the mountain and river diagram. He sat cross-legged under the Enlightenment ancient tree and began to comprehend. 2 days later, Lu Ming finished his cultivation. Fighting with an expert in a life and death battle, my progress is indeed fast. It's not something that cultivation alone can compare to. Lu Ming smiled. His primal chaos domain had improved again. Then let's continue. Lu Ming smiled and left the Phoenix Palace. He found a secluded place and changed into the black robe and Azura mask before heading out of the city. It's that Azura. He's here again. Lu Ming's arrival attracted many people's attention. After all, 2 days ago, the battle between Lu Ming and Prince Blood Prison had spread like wildfire. Fight! Lu Ming was still as domineering as before. He fixed his eyes on a young man and threw a punch at him. Judging from his aura, this young man should be at the same level as Prince Blood Prison. You're courting death. The young man shouted coldly and engaged in a fierce battle with Lu Ming. This time, Lu Ming was still at a disadvantage and exchanged more than 100 blows with the young man. Go to hell, kid. At this time, a crimson light rushed out of Darkwater City. It was Prince Blood Prison. He had heard the news and rushed out aggressively. I won't keep you company today. We'll fight again in 2 days. Lu Ming smiled and used the Gale Thunder Steps. After a few flashes, he avoided Prince Blood Prison and rushed into Darkwater City. This guy is using us as whetstones. The young man who had fought with Lu Ming today said coldly. No one would feel comfortable being used as a whetstone by a rank 9 Martial Royal Realm cultivator. That guy's cultivation technique is strange. The secret skill he used is the secret skill of the Wan clan, the 10,000 weapons art. However, the domain doesn't seem to be the 10,000 weapons domain. It's like the legendary chaotic domain. There's actually someone in the world who can cultivate the chaotic domain? How shocking. Furthermore, his spirit body seems to be related to the 9 dragons. Around the lake, some youths were discussing. These people were all geniuses from Emperor-ranked forces. Naturally, they had keen eyesight. Lu Ming's domain and spirit body couldn't be hidden from them. This is truly a great era. I never expected to meet someone who has cultivated the Primal Chaos Domain in the 100 Tribe battlefield. The Primal Chaos Domain is one of the 10 strongest domains. In the future, when it is cultivated into a law, it will also be one of the 10 strongest laws. That's right. I've heard that there are people who have successfully cultivated other supreme laws as well. If we can see the clash of supreme laws, how exciting would that be? The prodigy who fought with Lu Ming today muttered to himself. After Lu Ming entered Darkwater City, he changed back into his disguise and headed for Phoenix Palace. Unexpectedly, just as he returned to Phoenix Palace, he bumped into Huang Ling, who was looking for him. Lu Ming, there's news of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb's map and key. Huang Ling said. Oh, how is it? Lu Ming's eyes lit up as he asked. There's indeed more than one copy of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb's map and key. In different places, the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb have appeared and been obtained by different people. This matter has now spread like wildfire in Darkwater City. Huang Ling said, Do you know who obtained it? Lu Ming asked. I don't know, but I'm sure that many people are in Darkwater City. Huang Ling shook her head. It seems that everyone is waiting. Then we don't have to be anxious. There will definitely be someone who can't wait and take the lead. Lu Ming said. Huang Ling nodded and then discussed with Lu Ming before leaving. Lu Ming continued to enter the mountain-river diagram and cultivated with all his might. In the following days, Lu Ming would challenge experts outside the city every 2 days. Among them, he fought with Prince of the Bloody Inferno the most. However, although Lu Ming was at a disadvantage, Prince of the Bloody Inferno could do anything to Lu Ming. In this way, a month passed in the blink of an eye. During this month, the name Azura had spread throughout Darkwater City, and he had become a famous battle maniac in Darkwater City. Everyone knew that Lu Ming was using the geniuses as whetstones. On the other hand, the geniuses were using Lu Ming as a whetstone to force themselves to improve. In the past month, Lu Ming had made rapid progress and had reached the peak of the 9th layer martial dominator realm. Therefore, in the end, Lu Ming was no longer at a disadvantage when he challenged the geniuses. He was even able to fight them to a draw. There were too many geniuses in the 100-tribe battlefield, and there was no lack of opponents. Therefore, Lu Ming was able to make rapid progress. If he was in the Zhangzhou state, he would not have made such rapid progress because there were not so many opponents. The collision between geniuses could promote one's progress, and Lu Ming's progress was especially obvious. On this day, Lu Ming was cultivating in the mountain river diagram. Suddenly, his heart skipped a beat. There seemed to be some movement outside. Lu Ming ended his cultivation and came out of the mountain river diagram. Caw. As soon as he came out of the mountain river diagram, a sharp cry came from high up in the sky, resounding and reverberating between heaven and earth. Lu Ming came out of the room and looked up at the sky. He saw that there were a few suns in the sky. No, they were not suns, but a few golden crows. Divine birds, 3-legged golden crows. It was a few 3-legged golden crows. 3-legged golden crows were known as divine birds of the sun. Like true dragons and phoenixes, they were extremely terrifying divine beasts. Yin Kuangtu's bloodline was the 3-legged golden crow. Several 3-legged golden crows were circling in the sky above Darkwater City. Their bodies were covered in golden flames, and they shone brightly like a sun. What's going on? Why are those 3-legged golden crows circling in the sky? The disciples of Phoenix Palace were also alarmed. They appeared in the sky one by one and looked up at the sky. Huang Ling's figure appeared beside Lu Ming. Caw, caw. A total of 4 3-legged golden crows let out bright cries. Then, they turned into 4 golden-robed youths and stood in 4 corners of Darkwater City. Everyone, I, the Crown Prince of the Golden Crow Tribe, have something to say to all of you. The 4 Golden Crow Tribe youths spoke at the same time. Their voices spread throughout Darkwater City. Caw. At this moment, an even louder cry of the Golden Crow resounded in the sky. Dazzling golden light filled the sky. Then, a figure that was 10,000 feet tall appeared in the sky. This was a young man. He wasn't corporeal, but was formed from true essence and the power of the laws. He wore a golden robe with a sun embroidered on it. He wore a golden crown on his head. He was handsome and cold, and he exuded a powerful majesty. Greetings, 10th Crown Prince. The 4 Golden Crow Tribe youths greeted the 10,000 feet tall figure at the same time. It's the 10th Crown Prince of the Golden Crow Tribe. This person is extremely terrifying. His physical body is equivalent to an inferior heaven spiritual body. Moreover, he has reached the 3rd stage of the half-saint realm, the vessel of law's realm. Chapter 1628. Jar of the Precepts? Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. The Jar of the Precepts, as the name suggested, was the power of the precepts. When it entered the body, every muscle and even every cell would be filled with the power of the precepts. At this level, the physical strength of a person's body would skyrocket. His combat strength would also be terrifying. He was only half a step away from the saint realm. Huang Ling also had an inferior heaven spiritual body. She was a prodigy at the same level as the 10th prince. However, she was only a stage 2 half-saint. If she fought with the 10th prince, she would be easily defeated. In the 100-tribe battlefield, this kind of prodigy was the strongest. Prodigies who were even stronger would rarely come to the 100-tribe battlefield because there would be no training for them. The 10th Golden Crow Prince looked around and said, "I'm sure everyone knows that the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb is about to appear." Many people were shocked. The 10th Prince's first sentence was about the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. Was he doing this because of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb? Finally, someone can't help it. Lu Ming smiled faintly and glanced at Huang Ling. "I also know that some people have already obtained the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. It is in Darkwada City." The 10th Prince continued. Many people's eyes lit up. They knew that the 10th Prince was going to take the lead. However, the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb are divided into many parts. It is useless to obtain a single part. Only by gathering them together can we find the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb and obtain the treasures inside. Today, I will take the lead. I also have the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. Those who have the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb can gather at the Golden Crow Hall tomorrow at noon. After all, these maps and keys are useless if they are not combined. They can only be scraps. In the end, the Golden Crow 10th Prince added. Then, his enormous body disappeared. He disappeared from the sky. The 4 people from the Golden Crow clan also disappeared from the sky. How about it? Are we going to the Golden Crow Hall tomorrow? Huang Ling looked at Lu Ming. Of course. If we don't go, our maps and keys will be useless, Lu Ming said with a smile. At this moment, some people in Darkwada City were also looking at the 10th Prince. The entire Darkwada City was discussing this matter. After a day of silence, Lu Ming and Huang Ling headed for the Golden Crow Hall at noon the next day. The Golden Crow Palace was also bought by the Golden Crows in Darkwater City as a temporary residence. It was very large and was not smaller than the Phoenix Palace. When Lu Ming and Huang Ling arrived at the square in front of the Golden Crow Hall, they realized that it was already crowded. Many geniuses had gathered around the square. There were also many natives. Most of them didn't have the map or the key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. They were only here to watch the show and see who had the key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. There were dozens of golden-robed young men standing on the square. They were all members of the Golden Crow tribe. Among these people, there was a young man with a golden crown on his head. He sat on a chair and looked around with a dignified expression. He was the 10th Prince of the Golden Crow tribe. Lu Ming and Huang Ling blended into the crowd and did not go out. Who has the map and key to the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb? Come out. The voice of the Golden Crow clan's 10th Prince sounded. Bang, bang. At that moment, a figure stepped into the air and landed on the square. It was a young man who looked to be in his 20s. He was tall and slender and was surrounded by lightning. His aura was intimidating. "It's wild lightning Yi Dongfang from the Thunder God sect," someone exclaimed. "This person is very powerful." Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. The lightning surrounding Yi Dongfang was formed by the law of lightning. Once he attacked, it was earth-shattering. Yi Dongfang is extremely terrifying. He is an expert who is not weaker than the 10th Prince. Huang Ling transmitted her voice to Lu Ming. "Yi Dongfang, you have the map and key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb?" The 10th Prince's eyes shot out 2 beams of golden light as he stared at Yi Dongfang. "That's right." Yi Dongfang's hand glowed and a jade talisman and key appeared in his hand. They were almost the same as the jade talisman and key that Lu Ming and Huang Ling had obtained. "Take out your map and key," Yi Dongfang said. The 10th Golden Crow Prince smiled. With a wave of his hand, a jade talisman and a key appeared in his hand. Surprisingly, there were 2 jade talismans and 2 keys. "You actually obtained 2 sets of maps and keys." Lightning energy shot out of Yi Dongfang's eyes. Many prodigies looked at the jade talismans and keys in the 10th Prince and Yi Dongfang's hands with burning eyes. However, no one dared to do anything. Trying to get the 10th Prince and Yi Dongfang's hands was no different from seeking death. 3 sets. It's obviously far from enough. Who else has the map and key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb? The Golden Crow 10th Prince looked around again. Us. At this moment, 2 more figures stepped into the square. These two youths were undoubtedly extremely terrifying prodigies. Although they were not as strong as Yi Dongfang and the 10th Prince, they were on the same level as Huang Ling, the Blood Jail Prince, and Wan Tianqing. A jade talisman and key appeared in their hands. After a while, another person stepped out and took out a jade talisman and key. After a while, another person walked out. There was no doubt that these people who had obtained the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb's jade talisman and key were extremely terrifying. None of them were weaker than the Blood Jail Prince and Wan Tianqing. Including the one in the 10th Prince's hand, there were 6 sets of jade talismans and keys to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. The eyes of Yi Dongfang, the 10th Prince, and the others lit up. If this continued, they might be able to gather the map and key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. Anyone else? The 10th Prince's voice sounded again. Let's go out. Huang Ling sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming. Okay. Lu Ming nodded. The two of them stepped out and landed on the square, immediately attracting everyone's attention. That's Huang Ling from the Phoenix Palace. Who is that kid? How can he stand with Fairy Huang Ling? I know. That kid came to Darkwada City with Huang Ling. He was assassinated by an assassin from the Thousand Slayer Manor as soon as he arrived, but that assassin was easily killed by him. He actually dared to kill an assassin from the Thousand Slayer Manor. How bold. Discussions broke out in the surroundings. The 10th Prince glanced at Lu Ming and Huang Ling before skipping over Lu Ming and looking at Huang Ling. He said, Huang Ling, do you have the map and key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb? It's not with me. It should be with both of us. Huang Ling said as a key appeared in her hand. A jade talisman appeared in Lu Ming's hand. Chapter 1629. The 10th Golden Crow Prince, Yi Dongfang, and the others were surprised. They had not expected Lu Ming, a rank 9 Martial Royal Realm cultivator, to have a map. It was obviously a set with the key in Huang Ling's hand. However, given Huang Ling's strength, why didn't she take the map from Lu Ming? Wouldn't it be better to combine the map and the key? Why did she let them have the same map? Is he from the Phoenix Palace? The 10th Golden Crow Prince asked curiously. No. Huang Ling shook her head. Not from the Phoenix Palace? Many people's eyes lit up. A mere rank 9 Martial Royal Realm cultivator is not qualified to have the map of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. Give it to me. A cold voice sounded. A figure stepped out, and a powerful aura shrouded Lu Ming. Prince Blood Prison. A cold light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. Brat, give me the map of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. You don't deserve it. Prince Blood Prison said coldly, his eyes full of greed. Even with his strength, he did not have the key or the map of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. This made him jealous. None of the others were weaker than him, so he did not dare to touch them. However, Lu Ming was only a rank 9 Martial Royal Realm cultivator, so he did not take him seriously. The 10th Golden Crow Prince, Yi Dongfang, and the others looked on indifferently. They did not say anything, nor did they stop him. Having the map or the key meant that one was qualified to enter the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb with them. However, those who had the map or the key were all talented and powerful. Lu Ming was only a rank 9 Martial Royal Realm cultivator. How could he be qualified to go with them? I don't deserve it, do you? Lu Ming sneered. I don't? Then I'll let you know whether I have it or not. Prince Blood Prison's eyes were cold. A bloody light gathered on his body, and a powerful aura pressed down on Lu Ming. Suddenly, the cry of a phoenix was heard. Huang Ling released a powerful aura and stood in front of Lu Ming. She stared at Prince Blood Prison and said coldly, Blood Prison, Lu Ming is with me. If you want to attack him, let's see if you can defeat me. Huang Ling, what are you doing? Do you really want to work with the 9th layer Martial Emperor? I'm afraid that when we enter the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb, this person will only drag you down. Give me the map and cooperate with me. That's the way to go. Young Master Blood Prison said, trying to persuade Huang Ling scram or fight. Huang Ling scolded coldly. You! Prince Blood Prison was enraged, but he was wary of Huang Ling. Although Huang Ling was a genius at the same level as him, Huang Ling had the immortal heavenly phoenix body. Her life force was too strong. When she fought, she did not fear death. With her powerful life force, she could often exhaust her opponents to death. Among the prodigies of the same level, Huang Ling was undoubtedly extremely difficult to deal with. Damn it! Young Master Blood Prison roared in his heart. What was wrong with Huang Ling? Was there something wrong with her brain? She would rather cooperate with Lu Ming than with him. What was the difference between bringing along Lu Ming and bringing along a burden? Could this brat be Huang Ling's lover? Young Master Blood Prison had such a thought. Not only him, but many people around the square also had the same thought. Brat, with your cultivation, you won't be able to obtain any treasures even if you enter the reincarnation monarch's tomb. You'll only waste the map. Now, I'll give you a chance to sell the map to me. How about it? Young Master Blood Prison was still unwilling to give up. Scram. Lu Ming's answer was very simple. He only had one word. What did you say? Young Master Blood Prison's killing intent surged. He stared at Lu Ming viciously and said, Brat, don't think that you can be arrogant just because you have Huang Ling's support. You're just a piece of trash who only knows how to hide behind a woman. Let's see if you can keep the map of the reincarnation monarch's tomb. Having said that, young Master Blood Prison snorted coldly and stepped into the air, leaving the square. Among the crowd, two people looked at Lu Ming with fear. They were Zhao Kuang and Simo Yang. The two of them had also come to Darkwater City. They knew Lu Ming's combat strength. Back then, Wan Tianqing was killed by Lu Ming. Of course, they would not remind young Master Blood Prison of Lu Ming's combat strength. Wouldn't it be better for Lu Ming to make enemies? They could use others to deal with Lu Ming. Does anyone else have the map and key to the reincarnation monarch's tomb? The 10th Golden Crow Prince's voice sounded again. Around the square, everyone looked at each other. This time, no one stepped forward. Then, the 10th Golden Crow Prince asked a few more times, but no one stepped forward. Obviously, there was no one else. Everyone, we have 7 maps here. Let's take a look and see if everyone is here. What do you think? The 10th Golden Crow Prince suggested. Great, that's what I want. Yi Dongfang was the first to speak. Then, the others nodded. Let's activate the patterns of the maps and put them together, the 10th Golden Crow Prince said. Then, he waved his hand, and a golden light screen enveloped them so that the others around the square could not see them. Many sighed. They had wanted to peek at the maps, but it seemed like it was impossible. Within the golden light screen, the 10th Golden Crow Prince took out 2 jade talismans. He poured his energy into them, and the 2 jade talismans glowed. 2 maps appeared in the air. Then, Yi Dongfang also poured his ethereal force into the jade talisman, and another map appeared. The 3 pieces of the map were pieced together in the air to form a larger map, but it was obvious that it was incomplete. Then, the others also poured their ethereal force into the jade talismans, and the incomplete maps appeared. Lu Ming did the same. The jade talisman in his hand also appeared. There were a total of 7 maps pieced together. It's still incomplete. The 10th Golden Crow Prince's face darkened. Obviously, the 7 maps were pieced together to form a relatively large map. However, it was obvious that something was still missing. There was a missing piece in the middle and a corner on both sides. Judging from the size, there should be 3 missing pieces. There should be a total of 10 maps and 10 keys. It's indeed incomplete. The map doesn't indicate the specific location at all. It seems that the specific location will only be shown when all 10 maps are complete. Yi Dongfang said, maybe the person who obtained the remaining maps and keys is not in Darkwater City, but in the other 3 cities. Someone said. There were a total of 4 cities in the center of the 100-tribe battlefield, and a large number of prodigies had gathered there. The remaining maps were likely in the other cities. It's possible. I will send people to the other 3 cities to spread the news. During this period, it's best for us to stay in Darkwater City. Once the maps and keys are gathered, we will set off for the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. The 10th Golden Crow Prince said. The others nodded and put away the maps. Some of them glanced coldly at Lu Ming, and a strange light flashed in their eyes. However, after glancing at Huang Ling, they were all wary. The 10th Golden Crow Prince waved his hand, and the light screen disappeared. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.